What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 11 of Hugo Builds. I don't know if you've guessed, but this one's going to be all about insulation. Cue the intro and we'll talk about why we chose Roxul as soon as we get back. Alright, as you can tell, there's a whole bunch of Rockwool logos around here, and as much as I'd like to be able to tell you that this was sponsored, it wasn't. And we have about $4,000 worth of insulation behind me and in the basement, and some of it's upstairs. This was all dumped in front of the house on pallets a few days ago, and my brother Nick helped me move all these in. So now that that's over, we have the actual task of putting this into the walls. And essentially we chose Rockwool, formerly known as Roxul, because it's a higher quality product than your typical pink batt insulation. It definitely is a premium in price and in weight. Like, moving these bags around was a big pain in the butt compared to just moving around pink bags, but I think in the end it'll be worth it. This house is kind of aiming to be built with quality materials, green materials, and since this is kind of spun stone, I have no clue how they actually do this, but it is much more eco-friendly than the pink batt fiberglass. There's also a bunch of benefits that come with the Roxul. So essentially it's fire resistant, it's water repellent, it's a lot denser than regular pink stuff, so it's easier to actually work with, to put in the walls. It's denser, it sticks in the walls more, and so there's less chance of it sagging over time. There's also the fact that you get more R value for your thickness, right? So upstairs we're doing all the R22. Downstairs we'll be doing this R14 stuff on 24-inch centers. So that'll be fairly easy to install. I mean, I may regret saying this by the end of the video, but it should be easier to install. And we have the staircase that's all 12 inches on center, which I got bags of R22 at 24 inches on center, which will be a lot easier to cut and should reduce some waste. So, that said, it's a beautiful morning. I have the week off from work for the holidays. Let's get started! Alright, so as you can see, I got a few of these joist cavities started. It's going in really well. What I plan on doing is that I'll start by all of the joist cavities that don't require cutting, that are the proper width, all the kind of 16-inch ones, and then I'll go back and do all the cuts. So before we get started, I really should be wearing a mask, maybe safety glasses, as this stuff is a lot less itchy than the pink stuff, but use the proper safety precautions when doing this. For the sake of the video, it's easier for me to talk without a mask, so I'll show you how to install these one batts in the cavity. It's fairly simple, so we just grab one batt here. This is meant to fit exactly in the joist cavity. We start by the top, and we'll get it real snug up here on top of the top plate, and then just use our hands to start working it in gently into the joist cavity. And because this stuff is pretty dense, it holds in place real nice. Alright, so now we'll do the same with the bottom piece here. Just grab it by the top, fit it in nice and snug up here, and then start working it in. And essentially we just kind of tap it down to make sure that it's flush with the front face of the wall so that we can fasten our vapor barrier on top of that, and then the drywall will sit right on top of that. So One tool that I found was super useful was this kitchen knife. I bought this at Value Village essentially for I think $1.99. It's just a serrated bread knife, and it's been cutting the insulation like a loaf of bread. It goes really well. You can make some super nice clean cuts. So definitely don't ruin your Olfa blades or anything like that. Just use one of these long bread knives that you can get at the thrift store. That said, let's go get started upstairs. How embarrassing. So for just a basic wire, kind of like this, running through the two studs, essentially all I do is I put my batt sideways, and then I use the knife as a measuring tool so that I can actually measure where that slit is, and then I cut about halfway through inside the batt, using the bread knife that I use to cut the batt to length as well. I'll just kind of align the top here. Start by the top. I'll fold it in a little bit so that I can put that gap over the wire, and then I'll just work it in like any other. Alright, now plugs are fairly easy. You can see here the vapor box we talked about in the last video. So essentially I set up my piece kind of like this, hard to show you. I set up my piece and then I take my measurement with my knife at the top of the vapor box here. So I just make a little cut in the rule, and then essentially that gives me the height of my box. Now I'm just going to cut that all the way through, and I'm just estimating the width. I mean, you could just eyeball it. The width is pretty, about 3 inches wide with the plastic. And then poke this all the way through, and you make just a nice clean cut for your box. You see I got this kind of box shaped piece of batt, and this would be my full stud, but essentially what I'm going to do is just kind of rip it in half, keep a little distance, and in this way I can insulate behind the box. So I'm actually just going to prop this little piece there behind the box to fill in the back. You just kind of pull this plastic back in the front to make sure that it's in the front here. So when we do put our vapor barrier, you're just going to tape this up, and essentially you got a sealed box back here. This is going to be another tricky part of the wall. Essentially, this is all framed with 2x6s at 12 inches on center. Luckily, every single one of these cavities is the exact height of a batt of insulation, and I ordered this R22 for 2x6 studs in 24-inch width. It's a product that Roxul or Rockwool makes, and essentially I can just cut it straight in half, and that fills one of these cavities. This is gonna do it for episode 11. I think that's enough insulation for one video. I'm getting pretty tired of it myself. It's Saturday now. It's like 3 degrees outside. It's really comfortable in the house. I'm almost too hot wearing this hoodie. I'm just about to start the vapor barrier, so thanks a lot for watching. Happy New Year. This is the first video of 2019, so let's hope for a fresh start, and let's hope this all starts to go well from now on. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or that little bell down here to be notified every time I make a video. So thanks so much for watching, guys.